If it seems like I'm melting, it's because I am. And no amount of fans or air conditioning will take away this heat. So, alas, here I am all sweaty and feel like I'm dying. Today is day 23 of the month of Stephen Graham Jones, and it is the brainchild of Amanda from the Reading and Writing Life. She has gathered a bunch of us together, and we are posting a review of a Stephen Graham Jones work that we have read, one per day in the month of June. And today's book for the 23rd is Ledfeather. Ledfeather was one of Stephen Graham Jones's earliest works. Especially if any indication of the author blurb is, Stephen Graham Jones is the author of 5 novels. Only 5. Ledfeather was published in 2008 by the University of Alabama Press, and it is very literary. There is absolutely no horror involved with it, but you see elements of this story continued throughout other stories that he's written later, which I will kind of get into. I don't think there's spoilers for this book or for any other book, but I'll save that kind of towards the end after I give my spiel on why you should read this book. So, like I said, this is a very literary novel. Ledfeather is a book that's really interesting in its narrative structure, in that it is the story of a young man named Dobie Saxon, and his life and his experiences in the world are told from the perspective of the people around him, and not even those close to him, but it's just periphery, passing acquaintances who experience him in their lives and how they see him. Further than that, if that wasn't already interesting enough, and maybe a little bit slightly confusing while you're reading it, is that there are these letters throughout the narrative, interspersed with these looks at Dobie Saxon's life. There are letters from a U.S. federal Indian agent from the late 1800s, and they seem completely disconnected, but spoiler alert, they're not. There is this really just where it seems like nothing is happening and nothing is coming together. Stephen Graham Jones has this really, really wonderful ability of making it all click in a moment, and it just kind of snowballing from there. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. An aspect of this novel that I really I'm still thinking about, and you see it later in some of his other novels, at least that I've read, and that is this thematic exploration or repeated imagery of elk. And if you've read The Only Good Indians, you know why that's important. But there is this repeated imagery, kind of callback to not only elk, but the meat. To share a few quotes that I think kind of illustrate it much better than I ever could describe. That I would find a way to save at least one of them, even if I had to shave the meat from my own ribs. The boy was pretty sure that was the lesson his grandparents wanted him to learn from the deer. That this is what you do, provide. That meat can be an apology. That it can be everything. There's an entire scene, a page-long letter related to horse flank meat and steak, so I don't really want to read that one. The proof of that sacrificial act, the guide said, was that he was here, a product of the elk's compassion. It's just, I don't know, there's just really cool imagery there. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this novel, because I'm the worst reviewer ever. Because one, I don't like watching reviews of books that I'm interested in reading, and on top of that, I feel like books are to be experienced by each individual person, and my experience with this book may not be the same as yours. Like, even if you love it as much as I do, like, you may take something totally different from this book and pick up on some things that I didn't pick up on. And, you know, I don't want to set expectations, good or bad, for really any of the experience that you may have with reading. But to satisfy the requirements of the Stephen Graham Jones review, here is the review of Ledfeather. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it entertaining, I guess? I don't know. I guess in the last video, I closed with George meowing at me. So maybe I can try and get Max in here. Max!